Well, hello, this is Mike Dierks, the Regional Home Missionary Coordinator for the Presbytery of Ohio, with our January installation of our Regional Home Missionary reports. So today we're going to be talking to Brad Peppo, who is the Regional Home Missionary Miami Valley. So Brad, I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us what you're doing as this Regional Home Missionary of the Miami Valley.
Okay. There's a sense in which this new position is a continuation of what's been happening out of Covenant for the last few years. In prior reports, I've talked about the number of different church plants that we've been involved with over those years and some ministries out of those. And so essentially what's changed is now we have Presbytery and denominational support for us to continue to do sort of that initial groundwork level for future mission works. And so for the immediate future, I am continuing alongside Tyler at First Street downtown. And we're continuing to use First Street as sort of a hub, a jumping off spot for other ministries we're doing. Most immediately right in front of us is a continuation of the Turkish Muslim ministry that we've started a few months back. And we continue to we continue to meet regularly with that, shifting back and forth with the Muslims, answering some of our questions and giving a presentation and then having some discussion afterwards, and then alternate with us giving a presentation. It really has been, it's really been an incredible opportunity to in a very detailed fashion and very forthrightly and clearly explain what the Christian gospel is and how it differs from Islam. And those conversations and those discussions have been very well received. The questions that we've gotten from our Muslim friends have just been fantastic. And a number of families from First Street are continuing to participate in that. We've also had some outside interaction with some of those families. Actually, one of the families made the rounds and found a number of us and gave us Christmas presents right before Christmas. And they expressed how much they're looking forward to the situation with the virus being over and being able to get back together in person more regularly than we have. So in addition to that, we have the students beginning to come back to the campuses. The community college campus is still fairly vacant. A lot of those courses are online. And so our original core group, none of those students are back on campus yet. All of them are doing classes online. But the University of Dayton is back in person. And so we're beginning again to have a weekly study out there. With that ministry, I'm now getting some help from Redeemer nearby, and their intern, Brendan Westerfield, has been helping out with that. He's done a couple of those and will continue to do that with me and for me for the next couple of months. As far as other opportunities for church plants, there are smaller groups that I've been in contact with. Very informally at this point, but again, I mean, they know sort of where I'm coming from and what my goals are, and so we're having conversations about different topics in Reformed theology. In addition to that, we're having a pretty significant amount of growth at Covenant, and so Covenant is trying to work through how best to accommodate that growth, whether it be through another service or a satellite campus or a church plant, and so we're keeping our eye on that as well. And so that's pretty much what I've been doing, is just following up on those opportunities. Some things at First Street that have been going on recently. We're upstairs still, and we've had some elderly people who have been coming, and that's just proving more and more of a problem. And so last week we were exploring another couple options for meeting. One of those that has some drawbacks, but maybe something we end up needing to do, is that the Turkish American Cultural Center that we've been in contact with and interacting with, they actually last week offered us to come in and meet for free if we needed to do that. And one advantage to that possibly could be we're on the cusp of starting into our English as a second language ministry. Actually, it was the preparations for that pre-COVID that connected us with this Turkish community initially. And so we're looking forward to getting that going. and still working through whether our present location where we're meeting is the best place to do that, or maybe even working out of the Turkish Cultural Center, which happens to be a little bit further to the east downtown, east of downtown, and really is in a community where there's a lot of immigrants living there. So it might be a little bit easier for folks to get to that. So it's a little bit frustrating to not have clearly settled where we're going to be over the next year, but some of the opportunities that have presented themselves seem like good ones. The other thing that's happening that we looked at, the arcade, which is a large, it used to be sort of a market back in the 20s, and then over the decades it evolved to include more retail and restaurants and things like that, and it's been shut down since the 90s, but it's opening up again in the next few months. And Tyler and I were out there looking at possible meeting spaces where we could even just move into there and be meeting somewhat out in the public. And so it's that project's not finished yet, but we've been in contact with those who are booking those events and are in discussions with them about that. And so that's another possibility that would be really exciting too. And even if it wasn't a space that we moved into, for Sunday mornings, the fact that now there's going to be just a block and a half away from where we're meeting right now, an open public space that's indoors. There are a lot of things that we were doing that were somewhat weather dependent, given the size of the coffee shops and things like that that we were meeting at. Weather dependent and light dependent. In the fall, it's pretty dark still when we're wanting to meet outside. So in any case, the arcade opening, because it will be public space when it's not being rented out for events, to have some of the studies and outreach events and things that we've been doing out in that space. So we're keeping our eye on that opportunity, and we hope we're able to avail ourselves of it.
Very good. Thank you. That's great information. Lots of moving parts.
Indeed.
But you got your hands on a lot of good things, and I'm really intrigued as time goes on how your relationship with the Turkish community and how that flourishes. So keep pressing, and the story is a great one. So I look forward to future editions.
It's been amazing to see what God has done, and we're anxious too to see where it goes.
All right. Well, thank you again, Brad, for your update and your time and your service.
My pleasure, Mike.